A letter to my favorite globetard. Dear J-Lo, I try to see the world as perfect, an unfolding of God's will. I believe that no one escapes the universal consciousness, and we are all subject to its desire for us. Free will is merely an illusion generated by the ego, a desire to believe we are free agents choosing our behavior irrespective of environmental, societal, or ethereal influences. We experience our existence. We don't choose it. I think you may even agree with me, if for different reasons. That is why I can still love you, even after 2 years of your attempts to torture me and tear me down in the minds of others. All I have ever desired was to get you on my team, to give you reason to doubt the authority, and to convince you to look to your own temples for truth. You have proven to be immovable in the matters of accepted cosmological doctrine, despite my attempts to cast doubt on the science behind the ball. My inquiries into the nature and hidden meaning behind language have done nothing to persuade you of the inevitable fall of the ball. The incredible synchronicity that I've experienced, all while being a flat earther, hasn't rattled your cage whatsoever. I find this to be truly incredible considering your prior beliefs held so dearly as a younger man. So I will recount our history in an attempt to decipher where what I see as the discontinuity of your beliefs arose from. We were students in the same Catholic high school from 1999 to 2003. I don't believe we ever had a class together. While I was on the honors AP track, you took the middle of the road classes. I played football and basketball, highly revered sports within the community, while you played hockey, a club team. We both shined in our respective disciplines. I was definitely in the in crowd, while you hung out more with the misfits. While I would often visit with the misfits at lunch, I don't think I really ever came across your presence. My first memory of you is from a party in which you were dressed in your eccentric attire, that yellow shirt with the wild patterns. I immediately appreciated your boldness. I cannot place any more of our interactions throughout high school, though. Later in life, you would tell me about the first time you saw me. I was leading a dance circle and rapping during a high school dance with all eyes upon me. You said you immediately desired this ability of mine to get the party started and make everyone happy. I cannot place any more of our interactions during high school. Yeah. But I do remember graduation. You played guitar and sang a beautiful song that had the whole crowd shook. I remember feeling jealous. I desired a way to express myself and had yet to find it. I cried, and I don't think it had anything to do with the emotional release of graduating. I was sad that I was not the one giving my friends the amazing memory you had given all of us. I believe I confessed this to you when we crossed paths later in life. I've continued to cherish your musicianship to this day. Fast forward a couple of years, and we had both dropped out of our respective colleges and were living back in our hometown. Our mutual friend Zach eventually became the catalyst for our friendship. One of the first times hanging together, we took mushrooms and went to a big hill in Lisle, Illinois. The three of us became inseparable after that. We would spend countless hours smoking weed, playing video games, listening to music, watching movies, and pondering our existence. Having not fit in within the university system, I had begun questioning a lot of things. I quickly dropped religion, viewing it as completely man-made and a tool for controlling the masses. I adopted the scientific worldview of the Big Bang, evolution, and a material-based world. While I fell in line with accepted doctrine regarding the nature of our world, you argued for a more mystical worldview. The nature of God was always in the forefront of your mind, while I denied his existence vehemently. You read lots of Joseph Campbell and Manly P. Hall and were taken by their words. You spoke of archetypes, the collective consciousness, and synchronicity. You urged meditation work, breath work, and stretching. You held the deep belief that there were secrets hidden within language that could be decrypted with a careful examination of structure, sound, and pattern. I love that shit. You kept a notebook at hand everywhere you went. I remember being in a bar with you and a bunch of beautiful girls, and you still kept your notebook out. I felt some of your investigations interesting, but most of the time found you lost in the clouds. As strongly as you would argue for meaning and connection contained within everything, I would argue for the meaningless happenstance nature of things. While we shared a desire for truth, we were divided in our pursuit of it. I relied on what I saw as scientific, where you were able to dismiss the scientific worldview as just a version of the ancient one's dice roll. Language was the true science if just understood through the right lens. I think my adoption of the scientific worldview actuated my motivation for competition and success to lessen. You remained highly competitive, especially with me. By the time we entered film school together, I was deep into conspiracy and you were still on the spiritual. And while you admired my analysis of political history, I could never get you to fall in line with the material-based worldview. You completed film school and I did not. I have the feeling that you thought I was weak for not following through. Despite our differences, we were still the best of friends. And then you went to Los Angeles to pursue a career in editing. Our contact was strained with the distance between us. I remember telling me that it was difficult for you at first, finding very few willing to engage in philosophical discussion. You yearned to have an audience for your inquiries, but could not find it. I, without an outlet for my ideas, pushed deeper within my own investigations into the conspiratorial nature of our world. You worked on the lore and Zen, just coincidence, an online blog where you discussed the metaphysical and mythical. Our interactions were few and far between. Then I decided to pack up and head to Los Angeles. This was a disaster, having gotten arrested in Wyoming, and as a result getting so very little support from the people I was counting on. Feeling lost and hopeless, we took mushrooms on Venice Beach. Eventually we came to sit on the beach. I remember there was a huge tanker going away from us, directly away from us and out to sea. Little did we know we would be arguing about it. Why it was disappearing later on in life. In the process of unraveling my psyche while tripping, I began digging into the sand. Amazingly, I dug up an acorn. Being stalwart in my delusions of meaninglessness, and though mushrooms gave me the feeling of cosmic connection, I dismissed this unlikely event as mere chaos. As we walked back along the boardwalk, a one-man band performed Sweet Home Chicago. I gave him every dollar I had. You did your best to comfort me in my desperation as no one else would. I went home and continued my menial existence. Years went by and you became more successful working within the entertainment industry. I scraped by with no hopes for a career and not really desiring one. I saw man's toil as destroying the earth and desired to participate in as little as possible of its demise. Then everything changed. I will not recount my awakening story to the flat earth now, as you should know it well. I remember in the weeks after I talked to you on the phone, you seemed to be open-minded about the idea. But then it changed on a dime. Suddenly all of your efforts were directed at convincing me and others I was crazy. I remember weeping in my car because I was under constant attack from a person I now felt was cosmically connected to me. Feeling all alone in Chicago, I decided to put my life in the Creator's hands and headed westward. You had agreed to conduct an experiment with me involving helicopters if I came to you in LA. When I arrived, I was brutally rebuffed and dismissed as crazy, without you ever lifting a finger to prove it. This hurt. I made it to Seattle and began to see this was where I was meant to land. Your attacks online and directly to me continued. You would recite globe gobbledygook all day. You dismissed all observation that went against the ball. As I continued my investigation, I began to believe that the hidden meaning in language and symbol was the key to understanding the flat earth. I became very good at it. You dismissed it all without ever considering any of it. I'd become very good at what you love to do, and I think this pissed you off. I began to see everything as meant to be, including that acorn. You were incapable of placing any cosmic significance on anything I had experienced. You denied the incredible synchronicity that entered my life as delusional symptoms of an insane being desperately trying to find meaning. Even the physical, tangible objects that would appear to me at coincidental times did nothing to jolt you. Then began our online wars. I would post and you would be right behind, regurgitating globe gobbledygook for others to gobble and argue for my insanity. You did this on my Facebook page, Reddit, and the Flat Earth Facebook groups I joined. I covered every topic imaginable and argued with the best trolls on the plane, and boy did it help. I can speak Glober better than you and most globetards, know every argument for flat earth and can gesture on both sides. The one's a lot easier, isn't it? And you continue to deny my brilliance, but also obsess over me. And then one day you said you wanted to make a documentary about me. So off you came to Seattle, hoping for what I'll maybe never know. I had hoped to arrange a curvature experiment, but my friend John, who I'd been calling John the Baptist, became a no-show and all was lost. But we soldiered on and made a lot of footage. The first night I picked you up and we did interviews and then went out and had a great night and met some great people. The second day we took an Uber to Pike Place and just so happened to be dropped off right in front of the map store. You even remarked at how incredible and coincidental it was. We went in, filmed a bunch, and I bought an azimuthal equidistant map. We walked out to Pike Place and continued interviews. We noticed the boner on the totem pole right behind where I'd be standing with my Boners Just Prove Gravity t-shirt. You asked me a bunch of questions, mostly about the sun, I think, and then became determined to find a solar filter so you could show me what the sun looked like and argue that it never or hardly ever changes size. So we went to Glazer's, got coffee, and headed to Seattle Center. We rolled around, and then I ended up talking to a beautiful group of 10 teenage girls. It was awesome. We ended up going to Pike Place again, and we ran into a group of 12 young male musicians from Canada, the tiniest wearing a NASA sweatshirt. They loved what I had to say so much that when I told the little guy to take off that NASA gear, they all told him to rip it off. I gave them some cards, and we had it off. I'm pretty sure we retired early that night. Day 3, you had to catch a flight in the afternoon, so we got out early. We decided to go to Fremont to film me doing a recreation of Diego Rivera and Cradle of Rock saying, "Lenin stays!" in front of the Lenin statue. It was awesome. It's one of the few things you actually put up on the internet. Then we trekked to the Troll. Within a minute of being there, who comes walking up but the same group of musicians along with 20 to 30 or more of them? The shock and excitement were incredible. The boys had obviously considered all I had taught, and they wanted to know more. They asked me my thoughts on the Holocaust, and they appreciated that tale too. We shared a lot of love and joy with them for a while, the whole time them admitting they were compelled by a higher force. When we finally were saying our goodbyes, the Asian boy presented me with a turtle figurine. The day before your arrival, I had taken a trip out to Bainbridge Island after meeting the owner of an award-winning pizza joint the day before. He just happened to be warming up his pizzas in a different pizzeria in Seattle for a TV spot, and I just so happened to be there. The next day, my friend John wanted to explore, so we went to Bainbridge Island in search of pizza and curvature experiment locations. After eating, John and I walked through the woods and found an enormous rock that looked exactly like a turtle, and I took a pic. The young men agreed, and I shared the theory that no force on flat Earth had unearthed. They left, and we moved on to Pike Place for one last time. I think we looked at the sun through the sun filter, and you'd admitted to me that not for 1 second had you ever considered that the Earth might be flat. You could say that to me after witnessing all the coincidence and staring out over obviously flat water. The whole trip was amicable, and I felt like we had broken ground. You left, and I had high hopes for our future. Then it was more of the same thing. He's fucking crazy. Scientists are always questioning what they are told. The ball was proven with a stick in a well 2,500 years ago. I would block you, let you back in over and over. I remember one period when we talked on the phone a bunch and were very cordial together. Then one morning you expressed a loneliness you were feeling on account of a mutual friend cutting off contact with you. I sympathized. Then I told you my plans to move in with a bunch of strippers, and it turned on a dime. Back to you are worthless, play the victim, crazy, incapable, dumb, and the multitude of other insults you hurled at me. Every impossible observation explained by light jumping up and around and down a curved surface. All thought experiments dismissed as all possible. All NASA fuck-ups dismissed as you're making it, whatever. Eventually I realized your education and indoctrination had solidified your brain, rendering you incapable of fluidity, and you weren't ever going to let Aquarius into your heart. The bull was too strong to resist, and you would see red any time I called bullshit. You relied heaviest on my prior failures as you saw them to justify your contempt for my life, judging me the whole time. Yes, I told you, you were indoctrinated. Yes, I told you, you were dumb. Yes, I told you were an egomaniac and incapable of believing. Yes, I told you, you were an egomaniac and incapable of believing someone as smart as you could have been tricked. Your words had a lot more bite than mine, and they continue to this day. You have decided to hold your footage of Flatman hostage to do nothing, though you do nothing with it. How long has it been, and there are only 2 clips on the internet? Now you're saying you're going to send it to me for $200. All right. Thank you. I love you. I don't believe you have had any choice in these matters, but I still want you to know what goes through my head. Or I still want to know what goes through your head. I never was able to get a straight answer with you concerning your beliefs. I've never been able to get a straight answer for you when it comes to me and your deep-seated contempt for me. All I have ever wanted was to give you the through line that tied together all your inquiries. But something made you resist it. I just want to know what you think it is. Maybe I'll get to ask God what it felt like to be you during all this when I'm gone. Maybe when the authority admits it and your ego dissolves, then we can talk on a level playing field again. I haven't had a difficult time coming to peace with the idea that I won't have your support in any fashion while I pursue what I see as my life's mission, my destiny. But as I write this, I am glad. You are right about one thing. I've never completed anything by myself. I'm an artichoke. When it comes to art, I choke. I've been afraid of judgment of my art for as long as I can remember. But I don't think so now. I want to be living art. Earth without art is just It's just an accident, right? I want my YouTube channel to be the most engaging, entertaining brainwash known to man. Maybe I'll never fly, but maybe I'll be able to command the flies. Nobody knows what is possible. One thing is for sure, the sky is the limit.